here. And by the way, I can continue. Hello Internet, so nice to see you. So I've been asked, how do you make chord progression sound emotional? It's an interesting question. And that's the thing. This tells you also why writing chord progression, it's an absolute extreme simplification of music. What do I mean with that? Well, you see, when you write a chord progression, when you read a chord progression on a score or where somebody tells you the chords of a song, this gives you the structure of the music, okay? Meaning that, let's say the chord progression is G minor, F, okay? Okay, I know that if I play these, more or less the song will work, okay? But keep this feeling in mind, okay? But it doesn't. What I just played and just the chord symbols G minor and F don't really determine the emotional impact of what I play, because the emotional impact is determined also by the voicing of the chord, meaning where do I play those chords, if I play them high or low, if I play them with all the notes close together or spread apart, and all this kind of thing. And this really depends on the instrument you are using too, because different instruments react differently on the chord voicing. So just by writing the chord progression, you really don't determine much of what the listener will perceive as the emotion of the music. And I don't know you, I'm in music because I like the emotion of the music, okay? The technical stuff is nice, I'm not saying no, it helps us making music, but the goal is the emotion, okay? And so it's interesting because chord progression doesn't really tell us much. And that's also why a lot of people will tell you that knowing theory doesn't really help much. Again, I completely disagree with that. And indeed, as you're going to see right now, theory comes to the rescue and helps you getting emotion out of that. So let me show you. Okay, the chord progression was G minor and F. Okay, of course, I can play G minor as a bar chord here and F as a bar chord here. I also have G minor here and F here. Not much of a difference. I mean, this is pretty much the same as, okay? And by the way, probably have too much distortion to play full 6-string chords. But that's not how a guitar player would play those, right? I mean, if you are by yourself, maybe, but if you're in a band, you're gonna find different ways of playing that. A very popular way of playing this is to play tenths. What's a tenth? Okay, let's take the chord. The chord, like G minor, is made by 3 notes: G, B flat, D. Okay, so like this. G, B flat, D, or here, G, B flat, D. And by the way, here I'm playing the exact same notes, meaning G, B flat, D. And this is a specific emotional feeling, right? It's low and dark. While this G minor here, same 3 notes but an octave higher, they're much more brilliant, kind of piercing, okay? So already different emotion, and just by changing the octave, because changing the octave changes the tone of the instrument, and that's an important thing to know, okay? But a tenth would be to just take the first 2 notes of this chord, so G and B flat. Those are a third apart. You put another octave in between, so you play the G at the low octave and the B flat at the high octave, something like that. Okay, so G at the low octave, 10th fret, 5th string, and the B flat at the high octave on 2nd string, 11th fret. And then you do the same with the F. The F is F, A, C, and so I'm playing the F down here on the 5th string and the A up here, and I forget about the C. So that's a super common way of playing those chords, probably overused. But I mean, I can just pick 2 or 3 random chords, okay, and play them this way, and you start recognizing the song. Okay, I'm probably gonna get an immediate copyright strike because of that, okay? But you see, Okay, so it's known, it's common, okay? And indeed, interesting thing, I was looking at a YouTube video the other day, okay, there were a couple of session musicians playing something similar, and I think they were playing a chord progression, which I think was this, okay, plus an open string. So they're playing the G open string. So this is a C intent, and the G major intent with the open string, then the D, and then an E minor. Okay, and what one of them was saying is that a session player now frown upon this because it became too common, to which I think, well, if it works, it works. I don't care if it's too common, okay? That's part of my philosophy in music is that if it's appropriate for the song, great. It's been played 100 times before, 100,000 times before. I don't care. If it's appropriate for the song, it's right for the song, okay? Tenths are great in my book. Anyway, so that would be a different way of playing this chord progression G minor F. Okay. Different emotion than this. Okay. Makes sense. So, or I can just say, I'm going to take all the three notes and put them on the first three strings, and then F here. Maybe I'm going to do this and put the F here. Again, a different emotion than what we were playing before. And again, it's not just the rhythm, it's also where you play those notes. Let's play all the three notes, but spread apart. So again, you could play G minor this way, or this way, and all those notes are close by. But what if I play the bass here, the B flat here, and the D up high here on the first string? Wow. This chord has played this way. Again, it's just three notes. This chord played this way, there's way more depth, okay? Because this one is low and dark, but a bit muddy too. And this one is all high and sparkly, but there is no bottom, okay? But this it's much better. And if I play F, I can play this way too. And again, it's better than just, okay? So, okay, and here's where the fun starts. Okay, because now I can start adding extra notes to those chords and make them more interesting. So for instance, that's a trick that I actually stole from Bach. Okay, don't tell anybody, because if today you say that you stole something from Bach, they accuse you of being old, and they accuse you of being not very nice with other people because you use the Western music theory, which is the devil. Okay, anyway. So what do we do here? We play this G minor with those three notes, okay? Then before I move on, I'm gonna move this D up to an E flat. Okay, that's something you hear every now and then in some rock music. Okay, and an example of this will be, for example, comes to my mind, it's Another Day by Dream Theater. It's in a different key. Okay, which uses something similar. But anyway, again, the trick is way, way older than that. But here's where the nice part comes. When I go to the F chord, I'm going to hold this E flat. And then move this E flat down to the D. I'm not playing the F at this point. I'm playing this tenth, which is come from the F, and this D note here, which is not in the F. I'm essentially playing a D minor in first inversion, if you really want to be correct, okay? But these, it's way more emotionally poignant than... And this just because I've used those little suspension here. And by the way, I can continue. the chord itself don't tell you much about the emotion. This is way more emotional than the other thing. But here's the thing. It's the exact disposition of the voices. Okay, it's not just the trick of taking these and moving it up and suspending it. Okay, and I can show you that because I'm gonna play this exact same chord progression, this exact same little thing, but rather than playing the D and all the rest of the notes of these voices on the first string, I'm gonna start on the fourth string and play them on the third string. So essentially, I'm gonna move that thing an octave down. So rather than playing the G minor this way, G, B flat, D, I'm gonna play the G minor in this way, G, D, B flat. So the D is gonna be played here on the fourth string, 12th fret, and I can move it up. And then it's better at this point if I actually turn the fingering around a little bit and play it this way. So I'm playing this E flat here. So again, rather than doing, I'm doing. The notes do the exact same thing. The G stays a G, the B flat stays a B flat, the D goes up to an E flat. The difference is that when I'm playing this, the D E flat is on top. When I'm playing this, the D flat is in between the G and B flat. And so the emotion changes. And that's way more subdued, okay? I mean, this is very dramatic and desperate. Okay, that's what we would put in a movie when somebody dies, okay, and dies badly, okay? While these, which again is the exact same piece of music, just moving one of those voices down an octave, has a similar emotion, but it's not as sharp, not as painful as the first one, okay? That's what you would put. That's a tinge of resignation, not of the first one is desperate, like. The second one is a tinge of, again, resignation, is what you would play at the funeral of the character in that movie. Okay? And again, I can continue here. Okay, just to end it here. So, it's not so much what chords you play. It's not, I mean, the order of the chord, what chord you play, has some importance. I'm not saying no, okay? I mean, it's, after all, otherwise, why study all that? But it's how you play those chords. It's how you arrange those chords on the guitar. And that's it. That's the thing. There are so many possible shapes for the G minor, for instance. G minor is G minor, G minor, G minor, or I can play it on the third string. I mean, on the string 2, 3, and 4. Let me see here. Okay, there are so many shapes for those chords, and some of those shapes are at the notes wide apart, like this one. Okay, so lots and lots and lots of possibilities, and the exact position, inversion, voicing, and again, position in the range of the guitar changes the emotion of that chord. And that's something you want to learn, okay? That's something you want to study. Play the same chord in more than one position, play as the same chord progression in more than one position, hear how it sounds, change the inversion of the chords. Again, before I was playing this G minor and then the F going down, and then the G minor and the F going up. That's another position of the F. Okay, those things do make the difference. They do make the difference, okay? And So it's important to know as many positions as you can for the chords on the guitar. And at this point, somebody's going to come in and say, yeah, learn the cage system. And I'm like, no, I don't really like the cage system. I don't use it. I know I usually get a lot of grief for this. Every time I say I don't like the cage system, I start receiving a metric ton of hate email. Whatever. You guys do your best, okay, or your worst, whatever. I don't like the cage system. I think there are way better ways to learn where all the chords are, way more economical ways, okay, that use less brain and give you more power, okay? I have my system, and which is not really my system, okay? I have a system that I learned from several different players and put it together, and given the results my students get, I think it's pretty good, okay? And again, it's not really on my own system. I just organized it, but the thinking has been done by better minds before me, okay? And anyway, I'm teaching this system. And again, shameless plug here, this system is taught in my course, Complete Chord Mastery. In this course, we start from zero. And indeed, in the very first session, you see the beginning of this system, and you see how you don't need the 5 shape of the cage. You need way less than 5 shapes to understand triads. And then later we go on to the chords of 4 notes, 5 notes, and so on and so forth. And everything is super easy. Everything. If you do the exercises in that course, what I did right now, it feels like it's nothing. Okay, it's like it's obvious. Tommaso, you did a video on obvious things. I did a video on obvious things. None of those. It's strange, complex, or anything. You just need to know your way around the fretboard, and this is not rocket science. You really don't need a PhD to learn to know your fretboard, okay? And you really don't need to learn 5 shapes or other stuff like that to know your fretboard. It's easy, and once you do that, you can take any chord progression. It doesn't matter if you take the chord progression from Bach or if you take a chord progression from Britney Spears, okay? Or anybody else. You take a chord progression and you can make it sound good on your guitar, and you can control the emotion that you want to express with your guitar. Anyway, that's my shameless plug for today, and I hope you learned something in everything we're doing before. If you like this video, smash on that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Click on notification, otherwise YouTube will never let you know when I put up new videos. If you have any questions, comments, write them down in the comments. If you want to flood me with hate emails about the cage system, and you're already planning to write me a long email showing how my ways are wrong because I don't use the cage system, well, you know what? Please refrain from doing that, okay? Because it's not helpful for you. It's not really helpful for me either, okay? If instead you want to write me how you don't like the cage system either, well, yes, please write me too. That's great, or write it down in the comment. Anyway, this is Tommaso Zillia of musictheoryforguitar.com. Hope you had fun, hope you learned something, and until next time, enjoy!